Penguins. Both of those teams are off today, but back tomorrow. And ASU men's basketball took down Washington yesterday 73-65. The latest is brought to you by Waste Connections Arizona. Let them take care of the mess. Find them online at wcofaz.com.
Wolf and Luke.
Who are you?
Okay, then.
Ron Wolfley.
Ron Wolfley. What is up? Witch Buster extraordinaire. Love that guy.
Luke Lipinski.
Yay.
Wolf and Luke. Arizona Sports, the local sports leader.
Live from the Auction Community Studios on this Monday morning, it is the Wolf and Luke show. I'm Luke. Wolf, what's going on over there?
How you doing, Luke?
Doing good. Just sprinted out to the car and back in the last 2 minutes, so it sounds like
That's
I'm
why you're breathing heavy? Is that what it is?
really fired up for the show. As you heard in the update right there with Sarah Cazell, reports are that the Cardinals are moving on from head coach Kliff Kingsbury. We don't know the specifics yet. If that was, I would assume Kliff didn't resign, but I don't know if it was like a mutual thing. If the Cardinals have just decided, okay, 4-13, and the way this season played out is just unacceptable. If it's just, hey, here we go, we finally got through this season. Now's the chance to turn things around, and you can do it quickly in the NFL. Wolf, just your initial thoughts on this.
Yeah, honestly, as I'm consuming all of this right now, I just think it was an answer to a simple question. And the question the Arizona Cardinals, I think, asked was, is Kliff Kingsbury the guy to fix Kyler Murray going forward? That I think cuts through all the clutter, all the stuff that is out there, both good and bad, all that is surrounding Kliff Kingsbury and this decision. It was, do you believe that he can take Kyler Murray to the next level? And if the answer was yes, you were going to keep Kliff Kingsbury. If the answer is no, you were going to let Kliff Kingsbury go. And I think that's what happened. And the people that know that best are the people inside the organization, inside that front office. The answer had to be no. We don't think he could take Kyler Murray to that next level, because right now, this franchise, it's all about Kyler Murray and his $230 million contract and what you're going to do to get him right going forward.
Well, yeah, and, just to build on that, it doesn't even matter if it's more Kyler Murray's, quote, fault or Kliff's fault. If those two if they're not on the same page, or if the franchise looked and said, you know what, we're going to go into next year. Kyler's hurt, but eventually we're going to get him back. We just paid this guy $250 million. It's all built around Kyler Murray. Even if they look at the situation and they say, you know what, this might not be Kliff's fault. This might be more of a Kyler issue. It doesn't really matter, because you are tied to Kyler Murray for years and years and years, so you have to bring in somebody that can get through to him. So that's it. I mean, I think you just said it right there. Everything else is kind of secondary.
It is.
It's complicated. There's a bunch of different ways to look at it, but the biggest thing is, can you get more out of Kyler Murray? Because if you can't, you are stuck for the next 5 years.
No, exactly, and I think that was the deciding factor right there. Once again, I know that Kliff Kingsbury's been dealing with an awful lot of stuff. The distractions have been legendary, and I mean that in a very bothered kind of way. Because, once again, I know what it's like to be with a coach. I know what it's like to be in a culture where the coach truly believes that you have to limit distractions. You can't have them in your locker room. And the Arizona Cardinals in that locker room, I really feel for the players that were inside that locker room because of all the distractions that happened this year, like I've never seen before in all my years of being around the National Football League. I've never seen a football team that had to deal with so much. Now, once again, you know what, as football players, we're like, hey, walk through it, dude. It doesn't matter. Whatever it is that you face, walk through it. And it's easier said than done.
Well, we were on with Bickley and Murata doing the crosstalk when the news broke, and we were both kind of looking at different ways this may play out. And I really do like the Kyle Vandenbosch quote from earlier this morning, that now ultimately we already have the answer, so we don't have to speculate, certainly. But one thing he said was, if you're going to run this back this year, you better set a moment aside to explain to your fans why and what's going to be different and how it's going to be different. I still think on some level that applies. Now, if you go out there and hire Sean Payton, I don't think you have to explain it. But I don't think Kliff Kingsbury was the entire problem. Now, maybe he wasn't the answer, and you don't have to, if you run an NFL team, you don't have to keep a guy just because he's not the problem. You need an answer. But if the thought is just, well, we got rid of Kliff, everything's solved, and it's not going to be that way because they have so many free agents. They have guys retiring. They have guys that they're going to probably trade, I'm sure. It sounds like they're going to switch GMs too. But if the thought was just, well, we got rid of Kliff, everything's fine, you're going to be in the same position next year. Yeah. So you have to follow through on this now.
No, you really do, obviously. And once again, things are going to change, of course. Who's going to be their next head coach? I do not know, but there is going to be a huge paradigm shift inside of this organization in terms of the culture and where you're going to go. I do believe that whoever the first coach is that you're going to bring in here, the next coach, I should say, as a head coach, he's got to be the alpha in the room. That's number one. It's something that I think broke down here. It can't be a peer coach situation, and that's exactly what Kliff Kingsbury was. It was more of a peer situation with Kyler Murray. We all know that. Kliff said it himself. And I think ultimately that may have been one of the deciding factors for the Cardinals going forward. Because, again, it's about Luke. Can you reach Kyler Murray? You know, the old saying, you've got to reach somebody before you can teach somebody. And Kliff Kingsbury brought Kyler Murray along from his rookie season to his second year in the league and his third year in the league. There was no doubt about it. Kyler Murray was getting better until this, his fourth year in the league. Now, there could have been a lot of reasons as to why Kyler Murray regressed in his fourth year in the league, but ultimately it comes down to whether or not you believe that Kliff Kingsbury is the guy to take Kyler Murray to the next level or not. That's the decision Michael Bidwill had to make. That's the decision the Cardinals inside that organization had to make. That is the question you have to answer, period. Do you believe he's the guy to get him to the next level? Because, again, if the answer is no, this is what you could have expected. They're moving away from Kliff Kingsbury.
Where were we a year ago at this point? Week 18 going into the playoffs, right? A week away from the Cardinals playing the Rams on Monday Night Football to start the playoffs. And look, it's not like there weren't already signs of a slide last year going into the playoffs, where they were 1-4 to close out the season. But a much different world a year ago around the Cardinals because Kliff Kingsbury and Steve Keim hadn't even been given their 5-year extensions yet. That came after the playoff loss. So you can tell that Michael Bidwill is not happy with the way the season played out, and he shouldn't be. He shouldn't be. This season was an absolute mess. Again, it's not all Kliff Kingsbury's fault. Just moving on from him doesn't solve that. But to your point, if they looked at him and they were like, can you be the answer? Your only way out of this is Kyler Murray taking the next step. Now, you're right. Kliff helped him evolve for 3 years. This year, he didn't. He just kind of leveled off or even took a step back, Kyler did. But that might have been the injuries, the pieces around him. Some of this has to fall on Kyler, too. But you can't move on from Kyler.
You know, once again, I really don't know, Basinonians. I do not know if this is accurate or not. I really don't. I'm not speculating. I'm just thinking about this situation. And I've been talking about it for over a couple of years right now, maybe even longer than that, about evolving this offense and where this offense needs to go. And maybe that is it as well. Maybe it's a situation where the management, Michael Bidwill, did not think that Kliff Kingsbury was the guy.
Arizona Sports. Breaking news.
All right.
So, according to NFL Network's Ian Rappaport, Cardinals GM Steve Keim is out as well. He's stepping down to focus on his health, and so now Arizona needs a new head coach and new GM officially.
Wow. So what is this, 15 minutes? Breaking news every 15 minutes? Is that what we're doing today? I don't know what else there could be.
Adam Schefter did say this morning on First Take that Michael Bidwill is going to shake things up and I think this is shaking things up.
He's doing it. All right. When we come back, how did the Cardinals get to this point, 4-13, and now without a coach or a GM? Big Red Reacts is next. It's Wolf and Luke on Arizona Sports, the local sports leader.
The Cardinals fire head coach Kliff Kingsbury.
Per Adam Schefter. And now Dov Kleinman has it.
Is the next head coach already in the building? We're following the latest developments from Inside Cards HQ in Tempe on the home of Arizona Cardinals football. Arizona Sports, the local sports leader.
All right, Basinonians. Ron Wolf here from our brothers over at Moving Team 6. Go to movingteam6.com for more information, man. I can tell you right now, if you need to move, you need Moving Team 6. They are family-owned and operated. Tim Lee, of course, he started the company all the way back in 2012. He started it with his sons Garrett and JT. They run the business right there out of North Phoenix. This is a company that is built on a foundation of ethics, faith, honesty, trust, and service. And I know that because it's built on the Lee family, and their family is built on the same foundation of ethics, faith, honesty, trust, and service. One of the other things I love, Basinonians, they proudly support and hire our veterans. As a matter of fact, they take a military-like approach to it. They're professional, they're efficient, they're on time, they're reliable. It's one of the reasons why they hire veterans. Go to movingteam6.com. That's movingteam6.com.
The Midwestern University Clinics in Glendale offer a wide range of healthcare services, from vision, dental, family medicine, sports medicine, physical therapy, clinical psychology, and more. Patients of all ages are welcome. Meet with Midwestern faculty, physicians, and graduate students who provide patients with a thorough and comprehensive healthcare experience. Visit MWUclinics.com or call 623-537-6000 to learn more and to schedule an appointment today. Midwestern University Clinics, your family's home for healthcare.
Gambo here for Collins Comfort Masters. It's 30 degrees, your heat goes out, your pipes are freezing. No worry. Toilet clogged, no hot water? No worry. Spending too much on bottled water? No worry. Can't find your credit card? Worry. Hey, Collins can solve everything. I use Collins Comfort for all my heating, plumbing, and water softener needs. I used to worry about someone coming out and recommending things I really didn't need, but that's not Collins. They come out, we'll do a tune-up and a safety check on your furnace, and it only costs $79. That's $20 off. Their safety check gives you peace of mind, helps prevent potential fires and carbon monoxide issues, and can even help you save up to $100 per month on your utility bills. Collins Comfort is who I trust, and all the work comes with their no-worry guarantee. It's even in their phone number, 480-NO-WORRY. All my listeners should be using Collins. Call 480-NO-WORRY, Collins Comfort, home of the no-worry service and pricing.
Hey, everybody, it's Dan Bickley for Revitalize, and the Bickley and Murata Revolution is not just a slogan, it's very real. Thousands of our listeners who have changed their lives with Revitalize, and one of them is Tom from Phoenix. Tom, what made you start your journey with Revitalize?
Well, I've been listening to you guys do your ads for like the last 4 years. I think Vince lost 32 pounds. What impressed me the most is the fact that he kept it off the entire time for now it's been 4 years straight. Just wanted to get more healthier. I had a lot of weight to lose. That was kind of what got me in.
Well, you've lost 70 pounds. You've done a great job. You're now wearing medium-sized shirts for the first time in your life. How has Revitalize changed your life?
Everything's great. I'm basically being able to do things much more like I was doing them when I was younger.
That is great. If you want to be like Tom, if you want to join the Bickley and Murata Revolution, it's real easy. Call Revitalize, 480-435-3557. Find them online at revitalizeweightloss.com.
Find yourself here.
Huddle up. This is the party you've been waiting for. Get to Wekopa Casino Resort on Sunday, February 12th to watch and wager on the big game at WKP Sports. Plus, you can win autographed gear, enjoy a game day buffet, drink specials, and more. It'll be a full house, so make your plans now. The big game at Wekopa Casino Resort, a Fort McDowell Yavapai enterprise.
Love you, bro. Love you. Love you. Go, let's be the best. Let's be the best. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
Big Red Monday and Wolf and Luke on Arizona Sports. Presented by Sanderson Ford. The best play is at Sanderson Ford.
All right, busy morning as you would expect for the Arizona Cardinals. Kliff Kingsbury is out. Steve Keim is out. Cardinals lost yesterday to 38-13. So right now, let's get into Big Red Reacts.
Wolf and Luke. Big Red Reacts. Reaction to yesterday's Cardinals game. Brought to you by Wekopa Casino Resort, where world-class action meets Ford Diamond Splendor.
All right, Wolf, I think we all agree there's really no point in going through yesterday's game at this point. There's plenty of other stuff to react to in Big Red Reacts. Every national show right now, all they're talking about is the Cardinals. And so here we are. You know, you gave your coach and your GM 5-year extensions that had not even kicked in yet, less than 12 months ago, and today the Cardinals decide to move on from both of them. The specifics is as far as like, did they fire Kliff? I'm looking at the Ian Rappaport stuff. He says, okay, the Cardinals fired Kliff Kingsbury, and then a few minutes later, he quote tweets himself and says, Kliff was never walking away, but this feels like more of a mutual thing than anything. It wasn't working for either side. There's probably some peace now. We don't know the details of that yet because that just happened in the last 20 minutes. But the bottom line is they don't have a coach or a GM now.
Yeah, and once again, in regard to whether it was a mutual thing or not, I honestly don't care. Now, I know that the parties involved, they do care. I'm sure, as a matter of fact, the lawyers that are involved, they do care, whether it's a firing or it was a mutual agreement to separate. I have no idea. It really doesn't change anything to me. Kliff Kingsbury and the Kliff Kingsbury era apparently is over with the Arizona Cardinals, and so is Steve Keim.
This is Ian Rappaport from NFL Now, just in the last couple minutes.
1 year after Kliff Kingsbury signed a big-time, multi-year extension, he has been fired by owner Michael Bidwill. A frustrating year in Arizona, to be sure. And while this is a firing, in other words, Kliff Kingsbury gets to keep all the money left on his contract, I would describe this, Tom, as a little more of a mutual parting. Kliff Kingsbury did not seem like he was having very much fun in Arizona this year. It was a struggle all the way through, from the on-field result to the relationship with Kyler Murray, the quarterback, to all sorts of turnover on his coaching staff. And, of course, there's the fate of general manager Steve Keim, who took a health-related leave of absence. And this one, I would say, for owner Michael Bidwill, starting over makes a lot of sense. Now, Tom, I know that they're obviously going to do a search here, but I would not be surprised if Vance Joseph emerges as a prime candidate here, just considering the way this has gone and certainly as respected as he is in the building.
All right, so we're going to get into that in a couple minutes as far as what they do next, but still just kind of dealing with, I don't want to say shock, because I think a lot of us expected that this is kind of where it was going, partially because of what Ian Rappaport just said there, Wolf. When we were on with Bickley and Murata this morning, we were on for that last segment, and the news broke about halfway through that last segment, and Vince asked us both, what do you think is going to happen? And my response was, I think they are going to mutually part ways, or there's going to be some sort of statement like that, because Kliff Kingsbury did look very burned out. And I've been saying this for 5 weeks, and I'll continue to say it. Not that they should have kept him, but I don't think this was anywhere near all his fault. So I would hope internally they aren't looking at it like that. Like, we got rid of the guy that was all the problems. And I don't think they are. I think Michael Bidwill looked around and was like, I'm not doing another season like this. And he probably looked at the end of last season where they went 1-5, and he's like, okay, so what are we, 5-18 in our last 23 games?
Yeah.
I mean, there are teams like Jacksonville that were last place last year that won their division. They're in the playoffs this year. You can't really wait around in the NFL.
Yeah, you really can't. Man, my head is kind of spinning right now with all the news that is coming down, Basinonians, and change is ahead for the Arizona Cardinals. And man, I think about what that change could possibly be. I think of culture immediately. I think of culture and what that means. And the culture of the Arizona Cardinals, was that one of the reasons why they let Kliff Kingsbury go? I do not know. I do know this, once again, it comes down to the bottom line of saying, can Kliff Kingsbury take Kyler Murray to the next level? I hate to continue to repeat myself, but I think it's that simple. It was that simple of a question. Can you do this? And I have to wonder, Luke, and I'm wondering aloud here live on the air, so forgive me, Basinonians, for doing this, but I have to wonder if, in fact, that was a question They asked Kliff, and if in fact Kliff just did not want to answer that question in regard to evolving a new offense, is he capable? I thought he was, based on the David Blau offense that we saw, right, 2 weeks ago. Not so much yesterday, but 2 weeks ago we saw it. We saw a combination of the old and the new. We saw a different kind of offense with David Blau as our quarterback, and that made me think that Kliff could indeed tailor an offense and evolve an offense. Maybe Kliff didn't feel like that was the answer for Kyler Murray. Maybe Kliff just felt like, hey, listen, the offense, there's nothing wrong with the offense. Kyler has got to execute it better. Mm-hmm. That's what he's got to do. Maybe that's where the disagreement was. I do not know. I just know, once again, Kliff Kingsbury has been fired. He's no longer going to be the Arizona Cardinals head coach, and that means there's a lot of people right now that and their families that are thrown up in the air as well.
Well, yeah, because we don't know what this means for the coaching staff just yet. And just to kind of reset where everything was supposed to go today, there was supposed to be a staff meeting at noon. Kliff Kingsbury was actually supposed to still join us here at 1:45 today. Now he's not going to now, but that was the plan an hour ago. Kliff Kingsbury was going to address the media in general at 2 an hour ago. That's obviously not going to happen now either, but I do wonder who is going to address the media, if anybody, because this is the day after the season. It just ended for you, so I would assume, everybody has questions. What's up with Vance Joseph? Is Vance Joseph a candidate to be the next head coach? Is he going to lose his job? Like a lot of times the assistant coaches lose their job when the head coach gets let go because the new guy comes in. So there's a lot of questions here. The Steve Keim angle on this as well, as he's out also. So if you are in that camp where you're like, okay, go out there and get Sean Payton, then that's, one of the holdups there was, is he going to want to bring in his own GM or be his own GM? Are you going to be willing to give him that much power? The thing I will say, going back to just sort of the most basic level of all of this, I think why a lot of people freaked out last year when they gave Steve Keim and Kliff Kingsbury the extensions, remember the conversation was they haven't even extended Kyler yet.
Yeah.
And when they drafted Kyler in 2019, the thought was, okay, it's Keim's back because he swung for the fences with Kyler and brought in Kliff. And so those three are all tied together. Everybody knew if one of them was going to be the last one standing, it's always going to be the player unless he's just a total bust. And he's not a total bust. So here we are.
No.
Kyler's the last one standing.
He's the last one standing. And again, I hate to continue to do this, but you're going to hear it a lot based on earnings. It's the truth. This was always a question of Kyler. That to me was the only question you needed to ask of Kliff Kingsbury, basically, is do you think you can reach him and take him to the next level? I don't know what Kliff's answer was. I know that you have to ask yourself that. Do you believe that you could actually get Kyler Murray to that next level? But it cut through all the clutter. It really doesn't matter. That's the bottom line. And the NFL and the Arizona Cardinals and parting waves with a head coach, that always comes down to the bottom line. Can we make you better? Can you make your players better? Can you actually make your franchise quarterback, who is being paid handsomely, can you take him to the next level or not? And that cuts through all the clutter, and apparently that conversation did not go well.
Well, and last season, when the season ended, and I remember doing the Cardinals postgame show after the last game, the conversation was, okay, have the Cardinals hit their ceiling? Is this as far as they can go with Kliff and Kyler or whatever? And that was frustrating, and I get that, but it was still an 11-win season, and you were in the playoffs. This season was 4 wins, so obviously something had to change. Now it seems like pretty much everything is changing. We come back. Okay, Cardinals don't have a coach now. They don't have a GM now. What should they do in terms of a coaching search? We'll get into that next. It's Wolf and Luke on Arizona Sports, the local sports leader.
Arizona Sports All Access, presented by Bud Light and FanDuel.
The countdown to Super Bowl 57 has begun.
And Arizona Sports wants you to access all the in-demand events happening right here in the Valley. Enter now for your chance to win 2 VIP tickets to the FanDuel Party, 2 tickets to the Bud Light Music Fest, 2 tickets to the Super Bowl Experience, and 2 tickets to Super Bowl 57. Text SUPER to 620-620 and enter now.
Text SUPER to 620-620.
Message and data rates may apply.
All right, Basinonians, Ron Wolf here from our brothers over at Circa Resort and Casino. Go to circalasvegas.com for more information. Boy, I can tell you right now, get ready for the ultimate big game bash in town at Circa Resort and Casino. You know the big game I'm talking about right now, with lots of over-the-top ways to catch all the action, man. You can take in the big game poolside. Think about this, at Stadium Swim, poolside. I'm talking about 3 different levels and 6 pools on 3 different levels. It's incredible. You've got a 143-foot wide, 40-foot high-definition television screen that acts as the backdrop to these 3 different levels and 6 different pools. You're out there watching the big game courtesy of Stadium Swim, man. You can experience 3 stories of football glory at Circa Sports. Go to circalasvegas.com for more information. That's circalasvegas.com.
Bickley and Marotta Mornings. Arizona Sports. The local sports leader. Bickley Blast.
Just 13 months ago, the Cardinals were 10-2 and the Suns were rolling to a franchise record in regular season victories. And yet today is Black Monday in the Valley, where we hear the sound of championship windows shutting on both sides of the house. Today, the torch has gone out on Lit City, which is why Michael Bidwell's next move is so important. It's not just about fixing his broken, leaky, wayward organization. It's about restoring hope in the Valley, something to prove that history isn't repeating itself before our jaded, skeptical, tired eyes. There needs to be a change at head coach. There needs to be a new GM. There needs to be an industrial-sized cultural overhaul in Arizona, and there needs to be an owner who is willing to look in the mirror and step out of the Bidwell family comfort zone. It starts with phone calls to the 2 impact coaches, Sean Payton and Jim Harbaugh. If they're not interested, fine. Then you move on and hire the best external general manager candidate you can find and let him make the call on the head coach. But the key word is external, because after a season full of dysfunction, dereliction, scandal, and embarrassment, you cannot promote from within. There is nothing worth promoting, and everybody knows it, and so should the owner, especially if he's spending all that time watching film. Bottom line, for all the madness, meddling, and big red bird manure that will forever mark the 2022 season, today is the day this franchise needs to confirm something very important, that they are not the same old Cardinals.
13 months ago.
Organization. The team announced about 15 minutes ago that they have fired Kingsbury, while Keim has decided to step away to focus on his health. Kingsbury was with the Cardinals for 4 seasons. The team went 28, 37, and 1 under his watch. As for Keim, he had been with the Cardinals since 1999 and spent the last 10 years as general manager. In mid-December, the Cardinals announced that Keim was taking an indefinite leave of absence for health reasons. Cardinals owner Michael Bidwill will address the media at 2 o'clock today. In the meantime, you can read everything we know right now on ArizonaSports.com. To college basketball, the newest men's AP poll is out. Arizona drops from number 5 to number 9 after the Wildcats lost to Washington State on Saturday. UCLA is the only other ranked team from the Pac-12 conference this week, coming in at number 7. No Suns or Coyotes tonight after both teams suffered losses last night, but we do have college football's national championship game tonight. Number 1 Georgia and number 3 TCU kick off at 5:30 Arizona time from SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. The latest is brought to you by Asset Preservation Wealth and Tax. Find out if a Roth conversion is right for you. Everyone should get multiple points of view on their financial plan, so go to AssetPreservationWealth.com to schedule your complimentary portfolio review.
Big Red Monday and Wolf and Luke on Arizona Sports. Presented by Sanderson Ford. The best play is at Sanderson Ford.
All right, in case you are just joining us, the Cardinals have already made the decision here on Black Monday to part ways with head coach Kliff Kingsbury and general manager Steve Keim. You know, the semantics of whose decision it was or this or that, I guess, isn't official. Michael Bidwill is supposed to talk to the media at 2, so we'll get some more clarification there. But the official, I guess, and this isn't official, but this is the reporting from Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter and everybody, has Kliff as being fired, although Ian Rappaport, we just played you the audio, sort of doubled back and also said this kind of felt more mutual than anything else. We can get into what the future potentially holds for Kliff Kingsbury in a second, because I do think that's a fascinating conversation, but it's not at the front of Cardinals fans' minds right now. The front of Cardinals fans' minds right now, Wolf, is Sean Payton's out there. Jim Harbaugh might be out there. There's a lot of coaches out there, and I'm sure everybody wants Payton or Harbaugh. You may not get them. I'm sure a lot of Cardinals fans have their own like personal choice. Oh, I want whoever I want DeMeco Ryans, or I want Eric Bieniemy, or I want whoever. But now the Cardinals are in that market. There's not speculation anymore. They are in the market, and they're in an arms race with a lot of other teams that are looking for a coach.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. You know, honestly, if you're asking me what would be the best way to do it, I mean, Sean Payton, is that really a possibility? Is the Sean Payton possibility truly out there? Is that legit?
I think it's a lot. To me personally, it is a lot more of a possibility now than it was 3 or 4 weeks ago. Because every fan base 3 or 4 weeks ago was like, I don't like where our team's going. Let's just blow everything up and bring in Sean Payton.
Yeah.
So everybody says that. My hesitation then was, and it wasn't a hesitation like I don't want Sean Payton. It was I can't see the Cardinals moving on from Keim and Kliff after they just gave him those extensions.
Right.
It's also got to be Keim.
That's exactly right.
Well, they have moved on from both of them.
They have moved on.
So the door is open for Sean Payton.
So the door is open for Sean Payton right now, and if that's what you're going to do, you know, I would take that deal every day, all day, of course, if you told me that is the way they're going to go with Sean Payton. And it's because the guy is an awesome football mind, and knowing Payton would also want those general manager responsibilities as well. He could actually grow in season, I think, A-Dub and Quentin Harris for a few more years before these men become general managers themselves, because that day is coming. It truly is at some point. So I think it'd be a slam dunk all the way around. Yeah, Sean Payton would be fantastic if that is legitimate. I just don't know if it is.
Well, I mean, that's everybody's first choice, I would guess. I don't think there's a lot of teams out there that are looking for a coach right now that are like, yeah, well, you know, we could take it or leave it with Sean Payton. We were already hearing the stuff yesterday that the Broncos were already talking to the Saints about Sean Payton. That is a team that was embarrassed this season and is not going to sit back either. They've already moved on. They moved on a few weeks ago, and they're already actively pursuing Sean Payton. I think you have to still keep in the conversation a team like Dallas or the Chargers if they go out there and melt down in the first round of the playoffs, too.
Yeah, no, you're right. In regard to Peyton, though, once again, the only real negative in hiring Sean Payton, I think, it's a big one, and is Kyler having to learn the offense without repping it out on the field? And how far is that going to push him back in his recovery? How far is that going to push him back even more? That's the question you've got to ask. Because, once again, you've got a new system, you've got a new offense with new terminology, and you got a quarterback that can't go out and experience it on the field, can't rep it out this offseason on the field. So now, instead of looking at September and saying September is going to be when Kyler Murray's going to come back, are you really going to run him out there when he's physically ready to go, but really hasn't had any live reps with the offense?
Yeah.
It's going to delay, I would imagine, his return. That's all I'm saying.
I think the hiring or how they proceed now is going to give us a glimpse into what they see next season as, because the Kyler Murray injury, it's like you're building this like 10,000-piece puzzle, and you get to that point in the season, you're like, I'm not even sure we have all the pieces, but we're getting close. The Kyler Murray injury was somebody coming in and just flipping the table over. Because anything that you thought you might have as a plan a few weeks ago when he gets hurt, it's exactly what you just said. For me, it's like, sorry, Kyler, you're going to have to learn the offense, and there's going to be some growing pains because I'm hiring this next coach, and all my questions to this coach are, can you win with Kyler Murray?
Yeah.
But I'm not hiring the coach based entirely on if Kyler Murray's comfortable. You know what I mean? If it's going to be a guy like Sean Payton or Jim Harbaugh or somebody that the organization feels very strongly, this is the guy. Kyler's going to have to deal. He's going to have to learn a new offense. He may have to be uncomfortable for a while. The injury obviously makes it more complicated. But let's not pretend that the questions to this coach in the interview process don't circle around how are you going to handle Kyler Murray, because he's here.
And I'm not saying, Luke, that would preclude the Arizona Cardinals or me even if I were in a situation where I was making that hire, where it would preclude me from actually hiring Sean Payton.
But it's a complication.
I'm not saying that, but it is a complication. It is a negative and something you have to consider.
Yeah, it's Sean Payton, it's Jim Harbaugh. There's a few other names that are going to start to surface. And I'm trying to just kind of get a reset of the list of teams that are actually looking for head coaches.
I honestly don't think it's going to be Jim Harbaugh. I'm just talking
throwing
about
names
Jim
that are
Harbaugh,
out there for other teams too.
I will promise you right now, Kyler Murray and Jim Harbaugh, I think would be oil and water.
That would be fun to watch.
That would be oil
really
and water.
Fun to watch.
Hard Knocks would be begging once again to somehow be in that locker room. I just don't see that ever happening.
Unless I'm forgetting somebody, officially the teams looking for coaches right now are the Colts, the Texans who fired Lovie Smith yesterday, the Broncos, the Panthers, and the Arizona Cardinals. Right now, those are the 5 teams that are like officially looking for coaches. Now, it's not just, hey, the Cardinals fired their coach, so Black Monday's over. Like, other teams could still fire theirs. Do I think Dallas is going to fire Mike McCarthy? No. Their performance yesterday was embarrassing, and they've had a few of those. And if they go out there and have another one in the first round against Tampa Bay, and Sean Payton's like, hey, I'll come to Dallas, then I think that's a factor just simply if you're looking at this through the lens of can we get Sean Payton. But right now you're up against 4 other teams for whatever coach you want.
Just hearing you say that right there, it's been rumored for the longest time.
Rumored
that
since last year.
Payton exactly was going to be the Dallas Cowboys' next head coach. And, of course, then they go out and have the kind of season they have. If they get booted from the playoffs, you know what? That's interesting. I'm just
saying, I know they have a good record. It's not like I think they would fire McCarthy and be like, okay, we got to find a coach. But if they really, Jerry Jones has that sense of urgency all the time anyway. It sounds like, according to people you talked to over there this year, he has it even more than ever. They may go out there and handle Tampa. They should. They also should have handled the Commanders with Sam Howell at quarterback yesterday, and they did not do that. So you never know with the Cowboys. All right, text us your thoughts to the FanDuel text line at 620 right now. When we come back, what's next for the Cardinals? We will get the thoughts of former NFL defensive end Kyle Vanden Bosch. He will join us to break down the news from this morning. Kliff Kingsbury and Steve Keim both out. That's next. It's Wolf and Luke on Arizona Sports, the local sports leader.
The Cardinals fire head coach Kliff Kingsbury.
Per Adam Schefter.
And now Dov Kleinman has it.
Is the next head coach already in the building?